Before we get into the detail of Rumen8, let's just have a quick overview of the window and the various parts and how you use them. On the left hand side is the diet ingredients. These are the 15 feeds or mixes that you're currently feeding your cow. And it's easy enough to choose each one. Let's just put a very basic diet in so you can see how the rest of it works. Just click on the drop down list, choose the feed you're interested in and make it a nice simple diet. We'll give her some barley grain and some ryegrass, so she's out in the paddock, mid-season ryegrass. And just for the sake of argument, we'll give her 4.5 kilos of barley grain and 14 kilos of ryegrass. Now on the right hand side of the window is the tabbed part of the interface. This is the main part of Rumen8. This is where you'll spend most of your time. The first tab is the animal tab. This is where we tell Rumen8 what sort of cow we're trying to feed, and it's got all the parameters that the model needs to know about the cow. How heavy she is, how live weight's changing, things like that. We've got two diet parameters, two diet tabs I should say. The first one gives you a broad overview of the diet and how well you're meeting the requirements of the cow. The diet detail tab gives you the same information, just in a lot more detail, and some extra parameters when you're fine-tuning the diet. The milk price tab lets you put in the price you're receiving for milk at the moment. You can put in 12 prices, quickly switch between them, and you can put in prices on a volume basis or if you're paid on a components basis. The feed costs tab lets you quickly adjust the feed costs for the feeds that are in the diet at the moment. So that's just useful if you're getting feeds from different sources and you quickly want to change what they are without constantly going back into the feed library. The compare tab lets you save up to 3 different diets and recall the one that you decide is the best. So it's good for playing around with different alternatives, and when you finally settle on a diet you can recall that into the main Rumen8 window. Finally, we've got the notes tab. This is where you can type anything you like, and I find it useful for putting a few background notes on why I'm making the diet and what this diet is trying to achieve. So when I come back in 12 months' time, looking at a diet at about this time of the year, I've got a bit of extra information as to whether this particular diet is useful to me in 12 months' time. It's also good if you're exchanging Rumen8 files with your nutritionist. You can provide them with a bit more information around this diet instead of having to type it out in an email and you've got it. Then they can respond, answering your questions or giving you a bit of information about why they've chosen to make some changes. Now across the bottom of the screen we've got basically the performance of the diet, and we show this in 4 different ways. What your feed costs are like, what your milk income is like, expressed in different ways, various feed efficiencies and various margins. Down the bottom right hand side of the window is a fine milk yield adjustment, which is sometimes useful if you're playing around getting a diet just right. And finally, up in the top left hand corner we've got the Rumen8 menus, where they are for all Windows programs. We'll have a closer look at these later on, but just quickly flick through there. If we're talking about going and choosing something from the menu, that's where we go. Across the top of the screen is the name of the diet. We haven't saved this yet, so it's got the default name of new diet, and it tells you that it hasn't been saved yet because there's a little asterisk against the name. So if you're saving your diet and you make changes, there'll be an asterisk placed against the name to tell you that you've got unsaved changes. And then across to the right of there it just tells you who the software is registered to. The last thing that we want to cover is tooltips. There's a lot of extra information built into Rumen8 about the various parameters and things that you're having to change, or diet parameters that you're having to interpret. If you're not sure about something, put your mouse pointer over the top of it. So say if we hover over the live weight text, up pops a tooltip with a lot more information about live weight. If we move that and come down to live weight change, there's a lot more information about live weight change. Now almost everything in Rumen8 has a tooltip with some more information in it. So if you're stuck or you're not sure about something, put your mouse pointer over the top of it.